with AT&T. What am I seeing here? Hold on. Would I buy AT&T? And by the way, if you want to see the stocks that we bought for this week, just log in at the blackstockmarketprogram.com and go to what Dr. Boyce is buying, and you'll find it there. Okay, it looks like a lot of analysts are saying that AT&T should be a hold. The majority of them are saying hold the stock, but don't necessarily buy more. But these ratings might have been done before the most recent dip. Looks like AT&T has gone down 9% the last month, 18% the last 3 months. I see AT&T as being a good recovery play, meaning that as the economy starts to finally get its feet underneath it, it's going to take off. Let me tell you a little bit more about what the bulls are saying about AT&T. The bulls are saying that Warner Media has a broad array of content rights and has a strong reputation with content creators. Shareholders will own 71% of this firm after it merges with Discovery. Within the wireless business, AT&T holds the scale needed to remain a strong competitor over the long term. With Sprint and T-Mobile merging, industry pricing should be more rational going forward. AT&T has pulled together assets that no telecom company can match. The firm has direct contact with more than 170 million customers across various products, providing an opportunity to build deeper relationships. That means monetize that audience a little more. Now, here's what that's what the optimists are saying about AT&T stock, okay? So what the pessimists are saying, aka the bears, is that AT&T's massive debt load will eventually catch up with it. The new Warner Brothers Discovery was forced to take on $43 billion of debt, leaving it highly leveraged. The remaining AT&T will still carry $125 billion in debt as well. Advancing technology will swamp AT&T's wireless business, enabling a host of firms to enter the market, commoditizing this service. The cost of maintaining dominance in the wireless industry by controlling spectrum has been exceptionally high over the years. AT&T spent more than $25 billion for C-band spectrum in 2021, with few prospects for incremental revenue. So it's good to hear what the bulls and the bears are saying. The truth obviously lies somewhere in the middle. If you want to know the analyst breakdown, 29% of the analysts are saying to buy AT&T, 57% are saying hold. But keep in mind that as the stock continues to drop, that hold rating becomes more of a buy, right? Because one of the most important things you got to understand about stock is it's not about just the quality of the company or the quality of the assets or the quality or how much money the company's making. It's really more so about what the price is on the market relative to what the price is actually worth, what the price is going to be in the future. So some would argue that a lot of these stocks, a lot of strong quality companies like AT&T are going to do extremely well in 2022. Right now, if you want to know a couple companies that I believe are really going to do well in 2022, and these are options plays that I just made in terms of stock options that I just bought. But I bought long-term options. I didn't buy those quick hit, expire next week type options that are really cheap, where you can make a lot of money fast, but you may lose all your money. These are long-term options that I do in what is called a stock replication strategy. That's something that we talk about if you go to stockoptionsmasterclass.com, you can look at my options class. I did a whole intensive weekend explaining options, and it's all saved. You can go take a look at that, stockoptionsmasterclass.com. The two companies I like are Apple and Disney. Apple and Disney. I believe that once all this pandemic stuff kind of gets a little bit further behind us, not so much to where it's gone, but to the point where we become comfortable living our regular lives, even though there are viruses out there. Disney is going to do really well, I believe, in 2022. Also, Apple. There's a big play with Apple happening within the VR AR space. So there are experts that believe Apple is going to release a VR headset like the Oculus, or maybe something that does AR, or augmented reality, and that's going to be a big play for Apple. It's going to be a whole new expansion to a whole different area outside of just selling phones, right? So Apple and Disney are two options plays that I'm making, and what I did was I bought options that expire way out in the future. I didn't I didn't buy options that expire next week. I bought options that expire at the end of 2022 to give me plenty of space, plenty of time in order for it to grow. Now, my sister is in here, and she's like peeking in. You want to say hi?
I just want to say bye to my big brother.
All right. Love you, sis.
Love you too. See you next time.
All right. See you soon. Fly safe.
Okay. Bye, class. Get those options.
Apple and Disney, girl.
Okay, I'll forgive you too.
There you go. Put your money in there, girl. See, there we go. That's what you do with family. What you say? Okay, I hit you up. All right, so that's my sister. My sister's a medical doctor. She and she she makes good money and stuff. So I'm like, hey, let's invest. You got to invest. So anyway, in investing, just generally speaking, investing should be a family endeavor for you. You should think of family and love and wealth kind of all together. Make wealth into kind of a family thing because it makes it fun. To invest in things with your loved ones and stuff like that. Like, for example, my office, I just got an office in Atlanta at the Black House, and I share that office now with my sister and my brother and my wife and my goddaughter. Like all of us, are going to use this, right? And that's how you help each other survive. You share resources, right? So, and by the way, give me a yes if you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me okay. I want to make sure I'm coming through all right. All right. And by the way, if you log in at the blackstockmarketprogram.com, you will find that there are several stocks I listed for this week. I don't have them in front of me now, but I did some research and found some stocks that I really like that I'm invested in. And as always, each week, about every 7 to 10 days, I'll put a new list in there. And just know, if you're new to the class, you can go back and look at all the stocks that I put in there for all the last 2 years. And these are a lot of these investments are really good investments, right? So don't remember, when you're investing, you're really thinking about the next 3 to 5, 5 to 10 years. You're not, don't get caught up in looking at what happens next month or over the next 6 months. One of the things that's going to occur now is you're about to really have the purge. And the purge is where all these investors that just came in this year, a lot of them are going to leave. I did a conversation the other day where I was talking about how meme stocks are starting to die. They're starting to get sick and look kind of ugly. AMC is getting its butt kicked. I don't know how AMC is doing right now. Let me check AMC stock price today. AMC stock, okay, it went up about 1.5% today. But if you look over the last month, it's gone down 44% in the last month. That's huge. That's absolutely huge. That is a very big number. GameStop. Let me see, GME. Let me look it up. GameStop stock has gone down, let's see, the last month, 32.96%, 33%. So your meme stocks are starting to die. The air is starting to come out of the balloon. The only thing holding those stock prices up were delusional retail traders. Delusional retail traders who had money to burn, who didn't care about losing money because they thought they were going to make money. And now that the market's starting to sober up, and now that you're going to have Fed tapering and the Fed's going to stop pumping money into the economy, they're going to start slowing that down. And then on top of that, they may actually raise interest rates. When they raise interest rates, I wouldn't be surprised if these meme stocks get body slammed. Like the GameStops and the AMCs are going to be the first to go. It's just like those movies. Anybody ever notice how in those old movies, the black person always died first? Or anybody remember like Friday the 13th and all those old movies where you'd have a black person in there and they would die, like they'd be the very first person to get killed by Jason and Freddy, right? Well, that's kind of what's going to happen with the meme stocks. They're going to be the first to die. They're going to be the first to go down. And it's because their valuation is artificial. It is not real. AMC does not have a valuation of whatever that number is, $30 a share, whatever that number is. No, AMC's real valuation is about a penny. Okay, so it's all an illusion for the most part. And I think that the meme stock investors who got all pumped up about AMC, the AMC apes, think about it. Apes don't really have like long-term discipline. Like apes are not, gonna be like focused on something for a long time. Like an ape energy is very aggressive energy, right? Aggressive, crazy people, they can only stay focused for a while and then they move on to something else. So they can be aggressive somewhere other place. So some believe they're going to go jump over into other markets. They're going to take that retail money and jump over into cryptos and NFTs or these other, wherever you can make the fast money is where they're going to be, right? Just like dating, the people looking for the fast the fast, quick hit relationships are not the ones that you want to marry because they're not going to make very good spouses. Okay. All right. So the next thing is, let's see here. Francis Foreman says, sorry for the last minute question last week. Can you please explain how cryptocurrency self-repaying loans work? Okay, so this was a new question. I guess you submitted it this morning. Let's see, cryptocurrency self-repaying loans. Okay, well, I'm not a crypto expert. We have the Black Crypto Club, which actually meets Thursday, by the way. If you go to boycewatkins.com, you can see the crypto club information if you'd like to join. We have a lot of smart people. All right, so let's see here. I'm gonna look this up. Okay, so let's see. Alchemix founder Scoopy troubles on how crypto loans that repay themselves. Okay, a self-repaying loan sounds a lot like science fiction. Alchemix allows users to get under-collateralized loans on their Ethereum or DAI tokens, which are then put to work generating astonishing yields available in DeFi, decentralized finance. There's no risk of liquidation, and loans pay themselves back over a period of several years. The protocol is governed by the ALCX token, currently number 246 with a market cap of 413 million. To learn more, in late September, Stockhead spoke to Zoom via Zoom to Scoopy Troubles, the protocol's pseudonymous creator. So they say, so can you explain what is Alchemix starting from square one? To begin with, how to understand Alchemix, you have to understand a few other things in DeFi first, because it's a progression or evolution of some different systems that already existed in DeFi. The cornerstone of it is, are you familiar with the application MakerDAO? Stockhead says yes. Let's see. One of the first DeFi protocols, MakerDAO, is an application that allows users to mint the decentralized stablecoin DAI with their Ethereum tokens, essentially getting a loan from Ether, okay, from their Ether. So they innovated on the decentralized stablecoin space. They're the trailblazers in it. Essentially, the system they have is something called a collateralized debt position. So taking debt with collateral. Collateralized debt position means that you're getting a loan with collateral. A collateral is something that backs up the loan, which is something that they can go pick up in the event that you don't repay the loan. Give me a guess if you're following what I'm saying. So that's what they mean by collateralized debt position. I just want to kind of, for some of you that are a little bit lost on this, because I know the language is getting a little techy and we're not going to get bogged down with this. But so it seems to me that they allow you to borrow money with collateral, or maybe take the other side of it, maybe loaning money where the other party has collateral. And the idea is that you deposit tokens. It starts with Ether. Now it's a bunch of different tokens as well. Okay, so you deposit tokens and you over collateralize a position. So let's say you put in something like $10,000 worth of tokens into MakerDAO, and each one has its own collateralization ratio. As a stable coin, the collateral would need a much lower collateralization ratio. Okay, as a stable coin, okay, a lower collateralization ratio. Okay, ratio of the debt level to the collateral that you need. Okay. Because it's stable, the chances of going off the peg are much lower. Okay, so what they're basically saying is that it looks to me like you deposit tokens and you can borrow against your deposit. It sounds to me like that's what they're talking about, and that the amount you can borrow depends on the stability of the coin, right? So if I deposit, a cryptocurrency that has a really high volatility, I can still borrow against it, but not as much as I can borrow against a coin that has almost no volatility, like a stable coin. Stable coins are very stable. What's questionable about stable coins, in my view, is how are stable coins going to behave once the stock market eventually crashes or corrects itself in a significant way, and the economy kind of, or there's another crypto winter. I think that some of these stable coins are going to get their butts kicked. I think that some of these coins are going to find out that the emperor has no clothes. And I'm especially skeptical of anything that comes out of China, because they just have this track record of kind of creating shady stuff that takes advantage of the pre-existing environment. So be extremely careful about believing the stable coins can't that they're flawless. They're not. Whereas if it's something like Ether, it's 150% collateralization ratio. So if you have $15,000 worth of Ether, you can borrow $10,000 worth of DAI. And part of this, the way that they can ensure that DAI is always collateralized properly, is that if you fall underneath that collateralization ratio, you will get liquidated. So that means that if your DAI drops in value, then if your Ethereum drops in value, then they're going to sell some of your Ethereum, or they're going to force you to sell some Ethereum in order to pay off some of the loan that you got in DAI. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. So that way you can always ensure that DAI has the collateralization ratio that they need to feel comfortable with to all actually have the full faith and backing that people would expect from a decentralized stablecoin. And this model has been copied and kind of innovated on a little bit. Okay, all right. So there we go. So that's what it is. I mean, it seems to me that it comes down to the ability to finance things that you're financing or trying to invest in by providing your cryptocurrency as collateral for a loan. And the reason you might collateralize something as opposed to just using it to buy whatever you want to buy or invest in what you want to invest in is because when you use it as collateral, you don't have to sell the asset, right? So a big industry now, it appears, and again, I'm in crypto, but I'm not an expert on crypto. Again, we have the Black Crypto Club with crypto experts that are coming through every week. In fact, actually next week, Rebecca Samuels is coming in, who is an expert on crypto taxation. And so if you have crypto and you're concerned about the IRS coming to kick you in the butt because maybe taxes you didn't declare on the crypto ownership that you have a reason to be concerned about that. I would encourage you to consider hearing what Rebecca has to say. You can do a 30-day trial in the crypto club. If you go to boycewatkins.com, it should be on that screen. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it. But it's a really good club, and they meet this Thursday, 8 o'clock. I think that's when Rebecca's coming in. So that's a big industry now, borrowing against your crypto, which is good for financing the things you want without necessarily having to liquidate your assets. A lot of wealthy people do that. They have assets, they buy them, they just own them, and they don't sell them. They just borrow against them. And that way they can allow the asset to grow without having to liquidate things in order to make investments or to make purchases, right? So let's see. Edmund says, "What's your prediction on the Fed news is coming out tomorrow, and our stocks dropping in anticipation of this news and the inflation data?" Yeah, I think that you are seeing a little bit of sort of pre-reaction to the Fed. Kind of making their next announcement. I think the Fed is going to probably end up acknowledging to some extent what's going on with inflation numbers being so high, and what the market expects or they're worried about is that the Fed's going to start tapering faster than what was expected, and that they might raise interest rates a little bit sooner. So because once they raise interest rates, it's going to kind of be game over. That's when the stock market's going to kind of get a little bit more sober, and you're going to kind of see them pulling back on the economy because they're kind of admitting, okay, the pandemic's over, the economy's a little too strong now, we want to slow it down before it overheats. So I think that might be what's going on. Don't be surprised if you see a big dip after that Fed meeting coming up. And should you buy the dip? Well, I think it depends on what you buy. I'm a believer that when you're buying dips, the flight to quality is better, where you're buying quality assets. Because if you're buying the dip in Dogecoin, there's no guarantee, there's no reason to really rationally expect that Dogecoin is going to be able to recover from a significant systematic setback like a Fed announcement. Okay. Let's see. Are you able to purchase crypto for your kids on any platform? I wouldn't overthink it when it comes to purchasing crypto for the kids. I buy assets for my kids, but I keep them in my name. I don't buy them and just give them to the kids per se, unless it's like for practice. Like, all our kids have little investment accounts, but with like play money so they can kind of learn about stocks. But I'm not going to give my kids a whole lot of assets because kids are just, they can sometimes be a little stupid, I don't know about y'all, but our kids can be a little stupid. I know I was stupid when I was a kid. I was smart, but I was stupid, if you know what I mean. Like I thought I was smarter than I was. So if you'd given me, $50,000 in assets when I was 14, oh, I would have spent that on a bike and a girl and some shoes. I didn't have the maturity to know what to do with money. Your brain isn't fully developed till you're 25 years old. And even then, you probably need another 5 years to really kind of figure everything out and get the discipline you need to be successful. So I'm not a big fan of giving a whole lot of money to children. In fact, actually, I think that can undermine your ability to have influence over them as a parent. Because if they get to the point where they're like, well, I don't need you. I got $100,000. Well, then, I mean, that's going to make it tough for you to kind of say, I need you to make better grades in college, or I need you to stay in school and all that. They're not going to listen to you. So I wouldn't give them the money. What I do is I just buy the assets and I have trusts in place so that in case something happens to me, they're going to be taken care of. But I don't, that's my money. That's not your money yet. You got to earn it. Okay. Marlon, hey Doc, I recently ordered 2 copies of Black Labor White Wealth, one for me, one for my brother-in-law. Can't read it. Great Christmas gifts. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Very happy to hear that you're supporting Dr. Claude Anderson, the Powernomics Corporation. He's an absolute godsend. You guys know what I believe about Dr. Anderson. I would say that a great way to celebrate Christmas would be to order, to do a cash mob on Dr. Anderson's site, powernomics.com, and give away copies of those books to your friends and family. One thing that I've been doing to help you guys that buy the books is I've been doing deep dive lectures every Wednesday night at 8:30 on Black Labor, White Wealth. I've been breaking the book down paragraph by paragraph so that you don't actually have to read the whole thing if you don't want to, but you'll understand it. You'll get, Dr. Anderson's perspective and my interpretation of what Dr. Anderson is saying in the book. And we've done about 25 lectures on that so far. And actually, if you go to drboycebookclub.com, you can get access to all those lectures, right? There's a small fee for that, but you can get access to all those lectures if you want to watch all the book club meetings and all the lectures we've done to this point. Or if you want to come live, just go to boycewatkins.com. You get free access to the live book club meetings. The archives have a fee attached, but the live sessions are free. So it's up to you to decide how you want to do that. All right, so let's see. Stanley, shalom, Dr. Watkins. Thanks for making an impact in our community. You are welcome. And thank you for your kind words. Let's see. I have been trying to get my grandkids interested in stocks. I even tried to motivate them by hiring them to do research. So far, because I stress education to their parents, they are too busy with school activities, striving for A's in school. What do you think? I say, Stanley, what you do is this is the model I kind of use. What I find is that people don't receive information until they're ready to receive it. You might have, sorry, I gotta grab something here. You might have the secrets to the universe in your pocket. And I understand that frustration. I go through it all the time. But it don't matter. If they're just not ready for it, they're just not ready for it, right? And so what I have found that has been really helpful is one, I've gotten real good. I've learned the hard way about minding my own business and not, pushing things onto people, because that only makes them less interested in whatever it is you have to say, right? That's the first thing. But then two, while I don't push it on you, everybody in my family knows what I'm all about. Everybody in my family knows what I believe. Everybody in my family knows what I'm interested in. And what I have found is that, that person who wasn't listening 5 years ago, they remember what you were saying 5 years ago, and then it might kick in later on down the line. I just saw a cousin the other day who didn't listen to anything I told him. I gave him a ton of advice when he was 17. Don't do this, it'll mess your life up. He did it anyway. He messed his life up. Gave him advice at 27. He didn't listen, kept messing his life up. And then ironically, at 37, he's now paying close attention to the things that I say, because he wasn't ready at 17. He wasn't ready at 27. But what I said at 17 and 27 prepared him to hear me at 37. Because now at 37, now he's not young and cool anymore. He's not, he doesn't have his whole life ahead of him anymore. He's approaching middle age. He's starting to think about grown man issues. And he's had some experiences with life. Now he's like, okay, now I think I get what he was saying, right? So I think with the grandkids, let them know what you're about. Just say, hey, I'm a big believer in owning your own business. It can be very simple. Teaching doesn't have to be complex. It can be really simple. Like with my kids, what I do is little things like I say, whenever they mess up, I say preparation is the key to success. Preparation is the key to success. And I say it over and over. And the reason I do it that way, to the point where it annoys them, is that one day, I know 20 years from now, if someone says, well, what did Boyce used to say to you all the time in the household? They'd be like, preparation is the key to success. And you can't tell me they're not going to need that information at some point when it comes to, when they're trying to accomplish something, right? Or if you just say, well, they hear me down in the basement yelling and screaming in my podcast about how Black men need to own their own businesses and Black people need to build wealth and we need to have assets. So what I saw was that when they would make little decisions and they didn't know what to do, they would lean on the things they were hearing me saying every day to say, okay, this must be how adults do things, right? You're the only blueprint that they have for how an adult conducts their life, right? So, if mama was on the stripper pole and daddy was a dope dealer, they're gonna think every grown up must be a dope dealer or a stripper, right? Well, but if mom and daddy were talking about owning businesses and building wealth and being pro-Black, then they're gonna think that, okay, as an adult, I'm supposed to own a business and be pro-Black, right? You're giving them the blueprint, and so just keep that in mind. So keep being the blueprint. Don't give up on them, but don't expect too much from them at an early age. I'm telling you, it just you can't make people into who you want them to be. It's very hard to do. All right. Kia, if you don't have a lot of money to invest because you're living paycheck to paycheck, what is the best way to start investing? I would start small, and pick an amount that is maybe equivalent to the amount of money that you might spend on, on fast food, or the amount, maybe 1/3 of your car note. Most people, it's hard. You'd be hard pressed to find somebody who never has any extra money ever, right? And the thing about investing is it doesn't require you to give up all your extra money, but the only thing it's required is equality. Like we talk about equality in terms of white people treating us the same as other white people. I don't think about equality that way. I know white people don't like me that much. I think about equality as, do you care as much about your future as you care about getting that new purse or those new shoes or or going to the movies, or getting that new car, right? So I'm not saying don't go to the movies. I'm not saying don't get a new clothes. Don't go out to eat. Don't get a new car. Do all of that if that's what you want to do. But don't put more into those things as you put into investing for your future. Just handle your business. It's just like if you're trying to train for the Olympics and be in shape, there's no rule saying you can never eat sweets. But the rule is that you don't eat sweets before you eat your vegetables. You eat your vegetables first, handle your business first, then the chocolate cake is a reward for eating the vegetables. Where people get in trouble is they sit down for dinner and the whole dinner is nothing but chocolate cake. That's where people end up becoming obese, getting diabetes, and they die because you're not supposed to eat chocolate cake for dinner. That's how a lot of people do their consumption. They spend, and then if they have any money left over after they spend, they try to maybe save a little bit of that, and then they say, I don't have any money to save, and a lot of times it's because they spent it all. So just kind of have that balance. That balance is really important. The other thing is, it actually reminds me of college. I remember I was told that if you go to college, don't spend all your time partying. And people say don't go up there and party all the time because you're gonna drop out. And I got there and I was like, wait a minute, you can go to parties, and going to parties ain't gonna make you drop out. It's when you don't study between the parties that you end up dropping out. So I had friends that went to my sister, who's a medical doctor, she went to every party. She went to extra parties. She went to about 3-4 parties a week, easy. But she always studied before she went to the party. Going to the party was a reward for studying. That's how she was able to make straight A's in college and still have as much fun as she wanted. So the parties don't make you flunk out. It's not studying that makes you flunk out. So study before you go to the party. Just have your auto deposit. Treat your investing like a bill, right? If you don't pay your rent, you'll get evicted. If you don't pay your car note, then you're taking the bus, right? Well, then your investment amount every week should be as serious to you as your rent, as your car note, as everything else. And then whatever's left, then you spend that. Now that leads into another area though, where this is something you want to prepare your children for and also yourself. If you learn how to think in an entrepreneurial fashion, you can find ways to increase your income. See, cutting your budget is hard and painful, and it's not very much fun. I hated it. Every time I look at my budget, I would get mad because in my mind, I needed every single thing, every line item on my budget. I needed all that money, right? And so what I realized is I said, hey, wait a minute. Maybe rather than thinking in a scarcity mindset, I can think in an abundance mindset. Rather than thinking I only have X amount of dollars to work with, I can realize the world is full of money. If I can just go get a little piece of it, then I can go buy what I want. The things that were expensive can become cheap. The things that were impossible can become possible. So the goal was, I said, okay, how can I figure out how to make an extra, $500 a month? Right? You make a few extra $100 a month, and boom, there's your invested money right there. Right? So maybe joining a group, an investment club or an entrepreneurs group, or maybe, again, even in the Black Business School, we have clubs and groups and everything else. You go to blackmoney103.com. That's our entrepreneurship program. And you can get around people who are entrepreneurially minded, you may not necessarily go out here and end up making $1 million a year, but you might add an extra $10,000 a year to your income, which can be a game changer. Right? That's where you can go from buying, driving a Corolla to driving the Lexus if you want to, and still have money to invest. Right? So don't let anybody make you think that building wealth requires you to suffer and be in misery and have less and make do with very little. That's very tiny thinking. That's very stressful. I don't enjoy that at all. learn that ability to accumulate or to generate incomes, multiple streams of income. Teach your kids that now. Like, prepare them for that now. Get them thinking that way now. Put them in programs that will help them do that now, so that when they get older, they won't feel like, well, the only income I can ever have is the income that my boss gives me on my job. Okay. And so, one of you were asking about the recording of this session. You can log in at theblackstockmarketprogram.com, theblackstockmarketprogram.com. You can get the recordings of every single class that I've done to this point. Also, again, I put a list of stocks that I like for this week, section on what Dr. Boyce is buying, and it's right there. If you have any questions at all, or any challenges, you can't find something, don't worry. We are there with you. We have a great support team in the Black Business School that's waiting for your questions. So write this email down and use this email if you ever have any questions, any issues at all. It's support@theblackbusinessschool.com. Don't forget the THE. Support@theblackbusinessschool.com. They can answer any question. They can help you out. They can get you what